So we're in the end game now. Welcome to week 17 of my NFL predictions. Like I said, we're in the end game now, and the playoffs are down. We're down to the last 2 weeks of the regular season. This is going to get interesting, folks. But it does look like the playoff picture is now almost complete, give or take a few wild card picks. But it does look like we have mostly our NFL division leaders. That's all set. So let's get started with a shit show of a game. The Giants taking on the Bears. Giants, you're going to be getting. If you win, you just drop stock in your that you traded for that the Bears traded for you, and if you lose, that would just hurt stock even more. Well, if you beat the Bears, then actually it would help your stock even more. But if you win, that also hurts your the trade you made, because they would go higher. So this is if someone wins, everybody loses kind of game. I don't know. This is literally who's gonna suck less. This is one of those who's gonna suck less games. I am gonna give it slightly to the Bears. Just slightly to the Bears. Anyway, moving on to the Jaguars taking on the Patriots. Jaguars. I would love to see the Jaguars win. Just as a final fuck you to the year, just beat the Patriots, go 3-11, and then end the season 3-12. I mean, you're at this point you're going to get the number one spot in the draft again. But if you beat the Patriots, you're literally doing the NFL a service. But sadly, I don't I would love nothing more than to see the Jaguars defeat the Patriots and make them go into panic mode from here on out for the playoffs. But sadly, I'm going to give this to the Patriots because the Jaguars are such a ruined organization. There's no hope here, but I would love to see an upset. I'd love to be wrong. Moving on to the LA Rams taking on the Ravens. Rams and Ravens. Ravens, you guys looked awful. I thought you guys were looking really good with Tyler Huntley, but then it fell apart in the last game against the Bengals, who are on fire right now. Rams, they're getting good right at the exact time, but I do think this might put... There is a game here. I'm not saying it's going to be one-sided, but I am going to give this to the Rams. Ravens, you're barely clinging to life for a playoff. Next up is another game that looks really one-sided, but I'd love to be wrong on. The Buccaneers taking on the New York Jets. Jets, you guys have made some surprising wins. I should know. My Titans were one of them. But, sadly, I do think this is going to go to the Patriots, but I would love nothing more. I would love nothing more than to see Tom Brady go to MetLife Stadium, since this is at home with the Jets. I would love nothing more than to see Tom Brady lose to the Jets at MetLife Stadium, and the Jets getting their revenge on Tom Brady for years of him dunking on them with the Patriots. Hey, maybe you might get that chance, because Tom Brady's been looking really, really sus lately. So you might get that chance, who knows. But I am going to pick the Buccaneers here. Next up, we got the Falcons and the Bills. Falcons, you are still fighting, shockingly, for a playoff spot, which blows my mind. How are you still here? Usually they get knocked off of contention. More often than not, they get knocked out of contention for the playoffs really goddamn early on. So I'm shocked as everyone else to see that the Falcons are still here. But, you're playing the Buffalo Bills, and I think this is going to be the nail in your coffin. Bills are hot right now. They are trying to keep Big Brother from taking their spot again. And, I think the Bills got good right when they needed to. So this is another... If they want to prove they want to win the division again, they got to make a statement out of the Falcons. Yep. So I'm going to give this one to the Bills. Next up, we got the Chiefs and the Bengals. Now, normally, at the start of the season, going into this season, you would probably be thinking, oh, the Chiefs are going to murder the Bengals. And then we saw this year's Bengals. Holy shit, they're actually really good. I'm not saying they're on fire, but they've gotten good right where it needs to be. And the Chiefs, do have some sus moments to them. Like, they have legit sus moments to them in terms of defense and offense. Joe Burrow threw for over 500 yards last game. And, yeah, this Bengals team is not the Bungles. You know, they aren't the Cincinnati Bungles anymore. This is you put the respect on this name. This, I think, is going to be a fascinating game. I think this actually could be the game of the week. I think the Bengals are going to try to fight hard against the Chiefs. And this is a hard one. This is a hard one to pick. But I'm actually going to go with the underdog here and go with the Bengals. They're going to be at home. They're going to be fighting to keep their division hopes alive. They are going to the playoffs at this point, but they are fighting hard to keep to finally win the AFC North division in a ton of years. Like, it's been decades since they've last won the division. So I'm going to give this one to the Bengals. I think they are going to be here to say, we are legitimate. We're not the Bungles. We're the Bengals. Yeah. So next up, we got the Dolphins taking on my Tennessee Titans. Dolphins have been getting good, and they're playing. They might get the number 7 wild card spot. Titans, it's been a rough few days. I'm glad we got our. It seems like I said, every time I bet against the Titans, they win a game. So, yeah. Dolphins, I think I'm still gonna go with the Dolphins because we are still banged up. We are gonna get almost said King Henry, but that's not too far from the truth. Derrick Henry by the playoffs, which should be a major help to the offense. But I do think this is going to be a tough fight. But I am going to give this to the Dolphins. And who knows? Maybe if I say the Dolphins win, then the Titans win, because that happens every time. Knock on wood. Knock on wood that this reverse jinx works. Because every time I bet against my Titans, they're like, "Oh, here, we're the Titans. Remember that." So yeah, gonna go with the Dolphins. They're actually getting hot right now. But I do think this is going to be a firefight. And the Raiders taking on the Colts. Raiders, you're back to falling apart. You are literally back to status quo of falling apart. It's not even funny anymore. Colts, my AFC South divisional opponent, aka the one team that I'm concerned about, because the Jaguars and the Texans are like, you're not even a threat. Yeah, Colts are getting hot right now, and I'm going to give this one to the Colts. I do think that the Raiders are going to put up a fight, but I don't see them beating the Colts. Next up, we got the Eagles taking on Washington. Washington got murdered. What happened last Sunday against the Cowboys on Prime TV, that should have been delete the franchise right there. Go 56-7. I think 14, but it was a garbage time touchdown. Literally, that's when you say no more Washington. We're deleting that's delete the goddamn franchise right there. Because you got humiliated on primetime television against, a divisional rival on a massive scale. It wasn't even this game was over by the end of the second half. You might as well have been let's go home. Put on a rerun of Sonny and Cher or some shit, but that, ugh. So I'm giving this one to the Eagles. That's another team. I think these guys look like they are now on an upswing as well. So these guys might, if they keep playing like they have in recent games, they might get the 7th seed and sneak into the playoffs in the lower seed. They'd be more welcome than the Vikings, I'll say that. At least with the Eagles, they have talent and know how to use it. Not well, but they know how to use it rather than, shit on everything like the Vikings. Anyway, moving on now to the Broncos taking on the Chargers. I don't know what the hell to think of the Broncos. Actually, no, don't excuse me. I don't know what to think of either the Broncos or the Chargers, because both of them shit the bed last game. Chargers, you had such a winnable game against the Texans, and you lost 41 points to the Texans. The Texans. I don't even know what to say to you, honestly. I don't know what the hell to say to you, honestly. Broncos, you guys literally have all these great components, but you lack a QB. Drew Lock sucks. I'm not afraid to say that. Drew Lock sucks. You're out. Teddy Bridgewater was good until he had that horrible injury. What do you have left? Nothing. If I'm in the just start planning now for the off season. Like, you should have been doing that from the get-go. But Broncos, I think it's time to try to make a play for Russell Wilson from the Seahawks. Try to make a play for him and bring him to your team. You want another playoff run? You try your best to get Russell Wilson. And they might talk to you, Seahawks might talk to you, because they want draft picks, and they're out of draft picks, and that team needs to rebuild. Anyway, so Chargers, you're no better. You've literally just embarrassed yourselves. Every time I think you're going to be good and really have a lot of faith in you, you shit the bed. I'm going to give this one slightly to Chargers because the Broncos are so wrecked. But I would not be shocked if the Broncos beat the Chargers. Anyway, moving on now to the Texans and 49ers. 49ers, you guys are fighting hard for a playoff, but you lost narrowly to the Titans. I still think these guys are playoff bound. And the Texans may have won 41 points against the Chargers, but the Chargers were charging it up that week. I don't see that happening with the 49ers. I'm going to give this to the 49ers. Hey, speaking of Seahawks, here you are playing the Lions. Lions, you guys have been having a lot of problems. Let's be real, a lot of problems. And I think this is... I don't think it's your fault. You're just such a... the team is just not good. You just have not the best team. I do think there's more to you, and I think you guys are gonna be good. I do think you guys are gonna be good. The eternal rebuild, I think, is going to be coming to an end, and you're gonna be finally rebuilt. I think I might give this to the Lions because the Seahawks are so bad. It's embarrassing what trots out there every week. What trots out there with Russell Wilson, the former Legion of Boom, nothing. You got DK Metcalf. Good fucking job. This team needs a rebuild. It's time to rebuild, man. It's not even funny. Seattle... I think Seattle might win this, but my heart wants to go to the Lions. Yeah, it's just going to hurt draft stock, but I think it's more for morale at this point. It seems like, Jarrett, whenever he plays a former NFC West team, he's like, oh, I know what to do. Jared Goff gets good. He's teleported back to his days with the Rams. Anyway, so moving on now to what is sure to be a hell of a game. So it's the Cardinals and the Cowboys. Cardinals have had a massive slide. I mean, they lost to the Lions, but Cowboys annihilated Washington. This, I think, is going to be a good... I think still, even though they are, one team's on a winning streak, the other's on a losing streak, the Cardinals and Cowboys is going to be a hell of a match. These two, I think this might be a, one of the best games of the season. Honest to God, I do think this is going to be one of the best games of the season, and I think I might give this slightly to the Cowboys, because when that offense goes off, it goes off like a goddamn nuke. And, yeah, I think this is going to be a really good-ass game. But the Cardinals, if you want to stay, I mean, they're going to the playoffs at this point, regardless of wild card or not. But you need to right the ship with a win. You need to right this ship because you're falling apart at the worst possible time. But I am giving this to the Cowboys. Moving on now to the Panthers taking on the Saints. Neither of these teams are good. I don't care. I mean, again, Saints are like the Broncos in that they're missing one piece to make them really good again. And that is a QB. Ian Book ain't it. Yeah, the defense is really good. I might give this slightly to the Saints, but the Panthers might... the Panthers are just a wreck. Like, it's literally just a wreck of a team. It's like watching two train wrecks smash into each other repeatedly. I'm giving this slightly to the Saints because of the defense. That's about it. Finally, well, not finally, but Sunday night, we have the Vikings taking on the Green Bay Packers. Vikings, you might be actually good this time. Like, you might actually play up to potential and beat the Packers again. Like I predicted last time. But the way you've been playing, you don't deserve to go to the playoffs. The way you've been treating opponents, you don't deserve it. And the Packers are now fighting to keep that number 1 seed. And you're going to be seeing Aaron Rodgers own you like he owns the Bears. So I'm giving this one to the Packers. Finally, we have the Browns taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, it's another game where neither team is really that good. So what the fuck do you want me to say? Baker Mayfield's injured and he's too stubborn. And this comes from a guy who likes Baker Mayfield. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, all you're doing. I know you want to keep playing. I know you want to. I understand that and I respect that. But like, dude, you gotta. All you're doing is hurting yourself and your team. You have got to stop. And then you have Ben Roethlisberger. Yep, Mr. Captain respects all women. That's a joke. Like Roethlisberger. And that whole team doesn't deserve any chance. I want them to have this losing season and not go 8-1, because that counts as a winning season, and then every Yinzer in Yinzer land will be like, keep Mike Tomlin! You sons of bitches! Yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl next year. I love breaking out the Yinzer voice, because, like, here's how you do a Yinzer voice. You gotta get guttural, like you've smoked 50 Marlboros, 50, and you've never hugged your children once. If you have, you never meant it. Then you also gotta really like get guttural, like you took a shit in the Allegheny, or shit yourself at the game and started washing your pants in the sink of Heinz Stadium, you know. And then you gotta sound like you're choking on a pierogi. And then you get to talk like this and wave a terrible towel. Yeah! Let's go Steelers! I like the part where Big Ben threw the ball and got a first down. It's the only way I can get an erection. Really sound like Gilbert Godfrey face-fucked you to death, you know? Excuse me. Anyway, so there you go. So, in conclusion, I don't know who's going to win that. I'm going to give that one to the Browns, just slightly. Just slightly, if Nick Chubb can get stuff going, then that. So there you go. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this. For all 10 people who watched this, thank you. But other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.